Kevin Franke is finally divorcing his wife Ruby after exposing their kids to the world through their YouTube channel and then neglectfully leaving them to fend for themselves against their mother. Kevin has decided he's going to further distance himself from the crime and act like he is Father of the Year for filing for divorce. So let's get into it. So we've got to talk about what is going on with 8 Passengers because this family is officially splitting up. We've been talking about the YouTube channel 8 Passengers for years now on my channel, and actually back in 2020 I was sent a cease and desist letter after calling them out for neglecting their children, starving their children, and much more. 3 years later, now Ruby, the wife and mother of these kids, is in jail for doing exactly that. But I do believe that both of these parents are monsters. And now Kevin, the husband, is divorcing Ruby in an attempt to try to disconnect himself from this situation and take custody of his children.
Breaking news in the Ruby Franke case, Kevin Franke filed for divorce today and a domestic relations injunction.
This situation is frustrating and a little rewarding in some ways. I mean, it's mostly frustrating because we've been talking about 8 Passengers, calling them out, and they've been able to get away with this for 3 years. So there are children in this situation that have had to deal with Ruby and her abusive tendencies for years now, even after it was publicly known. But it's also rewarding that Ruby is in jail and the system is working to a degree. Remember, there was a 911 call where Ruby's 12-year-old son escaped to a neighbor's home with duct tape on his body, and then they found his malnourished 10-year-old sister in the mother's home. Both of these children and their other children have been placed in state custody. And honestly, they should stay in state custody because Kevin wasn't there to protect his children from Ruby. Kevin's attorney says that he did not know that Ruby was doing this to their children. They have been separated for about a year now, and he did not know the condition that his children were living in, which I'm calling BS. I mean, you are the father here. I'm sure he had somewhat of an idea of what was going on. Maybe he didn't know how bad it was, but even if so, you are their legal guardian. You should be making sure they are okay, and you have failed at your responsibilities.
Today, Kevin Franke officially filed for divorce from his wife Ruby after she was arrested almost 3 months ago on child abuse charges. Today, Wednesday, November 29th, Kevin Franke filed a petition for divorce in 4th District Court. As with all divorce petitions in Utah, the petition is sealed. However, according to a domestic relations injunction that was also filed today, both sides are required to not harass each other, commit DV against each other, or interfere with the other party's insurance during the divorce proceedings.
So yes, this divorce filing is supposed to be private. It's supposed to be sealed and we don't know about it. But we learned about this divorce for other reasons. And it's because of this domestic relation injunction that was filed, which essentially is a set of rules that each of them have to follow during this divorce so they don't go and do a press tour about each other or use each other's information against each other, essentially saying that they will move forward in a peaceful manner. They're going to be civil and they're not going to, I guess Kevin's not going to go and expose Ruby on the internet and not going to go and sell their items without her approval.
Now, the petition is sealed, but both sides must not harass each other, commit domestic violence against each other, or interfere with the other party's insurance during the proceedings.
One of the reasons why this injunction is necessary isn't just because of their public status, but also because of their children. And there's going to be a custody battle here. So they're going to have to figure it out. And part of that is this injunction to outline what their rules are going to look like. Though I think it's going to be pretty hard for Ruby to get any custody at all. I mean, honestly, I don't think Kevin deserves it either.
The petition for divorce is private. However, KUTV did post an update on the domestic relations injunction. So an injunction basically imposes restrictions so that both parties move forward in a fair and peaceful way.
So like I said, it's because of custody, but also I think it is because of their status, because they cannot go online and say anything about each other. There's no electronic harassment. And honestly, I don't know why Kevin filed this. I mean, I don't think Ruby will get out of jail and then just go wild on the internet, but maybe she will. I mean, their main channel has been taken down, so her platform is limited, but can you imagine like if the first thing Ruby does is like when she gets out, it's like runs to her iPhone and starts posting all over social media? I guess she can't do that because there are bans on it. And honestly, I do feel like the woman that Ruby got locked up with, Jody, brainwashed her. And there's a reason why Ruby has been pushed to this point. I mean, clearly she's been mentally ill for a very long time, but Jody kind of like put her in this cult mentality. And I do wonder if maybe like Ruby being in jail and being isolated has allowed her to kind of realize that she's been doing the wrong thing. Or maybe she's completely brainwashed. And that's part of the reason why they have this injunction as well, because they cannot influence their children and their children's feelings. So if their kid doesn't want them to have custody of them, they cannot, try to make them feel otherwise. Which this is important because Ruby seems to have brainwashed her kids and instilled fear in them. Like they are scared of their mother. So I feel like if she had the opportunity to talk to them and make some, comments, some statements, she probably could make them feel some type of way and a way to protect herself, essentially. I mean, I don't think that these parents are operating in a way at all which make their children a priority. Like they are both so selfish, and I mean Ruby clearly is, and Kevin is too, because where was he this entire time when his kids were starved and duct taped down into a room?
Injunction is also meant to prevent both Ruby and Kevin Franke from talking badly about the other in front of their children. It is written as they cannot, quote, attempt to influence the children's preference regarding custody or parent time, or say or do anything that would negatively affect the love and affection of the children for the other party.
Most people on social media probably understand why Kevin is divorcing Ruby, but it's not making him look better. I don't know if that's what he thought it would do, like making him seem like, yeah, he's leaving this monster, he's a good dad, he wants to get custody, but really, I just feel like he's as guilty and he probably should be in jail as well. One person commented, no way he didn't know, which I totally agree. Another person writes, she's a sociopath. Kevin standing by and watching the things that Ruby did and what she was saying and doing nothing. He's guilty by association, but he's not acting like it. Back in October, he started to fight for custody over his children. And I mean, I just don't think that it's right for him to get custody. I mean, unless these kids really feel like he's a good guy and they feel safe with him. I mean, I think that the entire case involving Ruby needs to go through, and then they can figure out where the kids should go, especially after they determine how involved Kevin was in Ruby's practices. Although I feel like a lot of you guys agree with me that the kids aren't safe with him as well. One person commented, neither of them should ever have custody. Another person writes, he doesn't deserve those children. He knew. He was in the house while the world watched her. And then finally, this person says that he was there during the abuse. Shouldn't he also be in jail? And honestly, that makes me question our system, because why isn't he in jail? I mean, if he is the legal guardian and these kids have been going through this, then like, why isn't he held accountable at all?
Still no word on the custody of the children or where they are right now. And Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrand are currently still sitting in jail waiting for their next court date. This injunction is going to be in place, however, until the divorce is finalized, until it's dismissed, or until there's a new court order.
As far as Ruby and Jody, we don't know much about their status because they're just in jail, so they're not really talking. We don't have any statements, but Ruby did get in trouble for, I guess, speeding at one point, and there was a court hearing held, and she had to be pulled out of jail to go and address this speeding ticket. So she's just been living her life behind bars.
In relation to Ruby Franke's child abuse case, there has not been any updates, unfortunately. The only update that has occurred regarding Ruby is that on November 14th, she sat in front of a judge over Zoom and had a speeding ticket dismissed. She obtained the speeding ticket 5 days before her original arrest, where she was going 50 and a 35.
So this entire family is a mess, and I just hope the kids have some healing time, some safety, and they are away from these parents who have put them through way too much. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.